Hey guys, Chris from Bose Audio Installation, and today we're showing you an install on this 2016 Chevy Malibu. Now within this video, we're going to show you how to install a 5-channel amplifier to the factory radio. Bose Audio Installation channel is sponsored by NVX and Sonic Electronics. Get 10% off all speakers, amplifiers, wiring kits, and more with coupon code PBAI at NVX. Also get 5% off all car audio components at Sonic Electronics with coupon code PROBOBEAST. In this install, we're going to show you how to run all the cables, get the amp mounted under the front passenger seat. And now when we pop the hood, here's your battery up front on the driver's side. You can pop the little covers off, remove the negative off the battery. This stud is where we're going to put our power wire on the positive side of the battery. Now the grommet that we're going to go through is actually just down up underneath there. It's soft enough that we can actually poke a hole through and go through the factory grommet, and that will lead us right over to the area underneath the seat. Alright, so since we've disconnected the negative on the battery, we went ahead and ran our power cable, and the grommet that we've chosen is just on the passenger side of the firewall. Mounted our fuse holder here on this mount, and what we've done is connected our positive. We cut a little bit of a hole inside this plastic cover, mounted our fuse holder, and then we just put these little anchors to hold the wire up so they don't get in the way. And up underneath we just poked a hole so we can push that wire through the factory grommet. And on this side we just popped this down, and that's where it came out. Now that's probably going to be your hardest part, getting that wire through. The way that we've done so we used an X-Acto knife to cut a little hole, and then we used a hanger. We pushed the hanger through, we got some WD-40, and pulled the wire on through the firewall. Now at this point, we're going to pop these panels off. Begin running this wire because it's going to end up right here underneath the seat, and we already test fitted our 5-channel amp right there. Alright, so we went ahead and unbolted the seat and just tipped it back. We didn't unplug any of the harnesses because this is most likely an airbag harness and their seatbelt harness. But what we've done is tipped it back just far enough that we have plenty of room to work on the amplifier here. It is a Torx type. It's a T45 is what we used. Once that's up and out of the way, it gives us plenty of space to get the amplifier mounted. There's nice ridges, and this will sit nice and snug in this little spot. Still plenty of room for the vents on this side for the heater and AC. We're going to run our power wire to the power post here, and then our negative, if we pull this up, there's a huge factory grounding location here that we're going to use for our amplifier, which is just about perfect. Now, since we're tapping into the factory 7-inch screen here as well, we are not going to use RCAs, but this has a high-level input, which we're going to use instead. What we're going to do with this is extend these wires, and we're going to just tap into back behind the radio for our signal and our speaker outputs as well. Alright, so we went ahead and got our power and ground hooked up. We fed the power wire through there. There's actually a hole through this beam, just like so, and that runs up to the battery. Then our ground here, put a ring terminal on. Nice factory grounding location, right up to the ground of the amp. Now at this point, we need to start running our speaker wire output and our high-level input from those wires up to the radio. Okay, so we got our 9-conductor speaker wire, and if you want to know what this is in more detail, I'll throw a link in the description. I have an unboxing and review of this wire. It's great. It's basically all 4 of your sets of speaker wire and double shielded. In a nice cable, and we have that hooked to our speaker output, and we have basically the same type of cable for speaker high-level input, and it goes into that harness into the amp. The harness came with the amplifier as well, so both these sets of 9-wire are going to go up the kind of the center console, and then we're going to work it up to the radio area. Alright, so at this point we need to pop the radio out so we can tap into the signal speaker output from the radio, and then tap our output from the signal into the wiring harness that goes to the speaker doors of the car. So we're going to get that started here. Looks like so. Disconnect your push to start if you have that equipped. Up out of the way. Now on top here there's a little panel. Just use a little flathead screwdriver because that panel is actually hiding 2 screws as well. Alright, 2 clips. Super tight. Okay, on top it's going to expose most likely 7 mil. Oh, that's just held on with clips. Alright, and the other 2 screws are just right up underneath. Gonna give this a tug. There we are. Now on the back here, you're going to want to disconnect these harnesses. What we want to do is actually just tap into the speaker wire. Now you can pick up what they call a breakout harness or a T harness, so you don't have to tap into the factory wiring. We are actually going to show you all the way through tapping into this wiring in case you don't pick up that breakout harness. So we're going to get these all pulled apart, disconnect these harnesses here. Like that. Set that up out of the way. Now we get to feed our cables up to the cavity. Now, I've marked this. The one with the tape is your speaker wire output from the amp, and the one without the tape is our signal side. Alright, so what we've done here is we went ahead and the wires that originally went to the harness, we actually put a small cut there and spliced both ends. Now, this set is our input harness, which, as you remember, goes into the input side of the amplifier since it's a high-level input. That's taking all 4 channels down there into the input of the amp. Now the other side, the output of the amp, after it's been amplified, also goes back up, and it comes back up here, and it goes back into the original harness, which goes to the doors. Now since we're only running 50, 75 watts max RMS, doing it this way is just fine because generally the factory wiring is copper. It's a nice wire. And it's a heavy enough gauge to support that amperage. If you're doing anything more, 100 watts or more at least, for sure run your new wire to every component. But in this setup, since we're running some mid-level Alpines, that's just going to be fine running it this way, and it's super clean. Now what we're going to do is zip tie all this up, make it super nice and clean. This will plug back into the radio, and so will this, along with all the other harnesses that you saw us unhook. And really at this point it's done. The last thing we need to do is hook up our remote turn-on wire, and we're going to do that by tapping into the fuse box for a 12-volt switch source. As one more note, for wiring color, to know what will go where, I'm going to post here in the video the wiring diagram so you know basically the best way to hook this up. Fortunately, these are all aftermarket wiring colors, which makes it super easy to keep things apart. But essentially, I will post the factory wiring colors, and both in the description of the video as well as here in the video itself. Alright, so we went ahead and got our radio back in, everything plugged back in just as before. At this point, we ran our remote turn-on wire back underneath here. Here's the fuse panel, and that fuse there, the one I have it plugged into, I have an out of circuit, which safely allows me to tap into the fuse box, and it's on switched power, so it's going to trigger our amp to turn on when the key or the car's in accessory are started. And at this point, we've put our 4 screws back in. Alright, amp's all done. We did a bass little tune here on it. Everything's hooked up nice and clean. It just sits super discreet underneath the passenger front seat. So at this time, let's get the seat all bolted back up. We ran our subwoofer cable, our speaker output, and we just tucked it underneath the panels all the way to the trunk area. So that was super easy, and got that hooked up to our Alpine 15-inch. Alright, so we got everything all buttoned up, the seat's all in, everything's tuned and cleaned up. Nice thing is, with this install, you would have no idea anything's installed. Alright, so that's about it. Let's do a quick little test here for you.
No roots on X96. I like digging holes and hiding things inside them. When I grow old, I hope.
We got plenty of bass, mids and highs are nice and clean, and especially for the factory speakers, we're actually installing Alpines, and so we'll have those videos available, links in the description once they are uploaded. But that's about it for this video. Thanks guys for checking this out. Hopefully this install was helpful for you for this brand new model year Malibu. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment down below. Hit that like button if you like this video, and be sure to subscribe for more great content. Thanks again guys for watching the channel, and we will see you in the next video.